Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Bella and this is Nemo, and we have this channel about dogs and dog things. And today we are doing our new concept, which is an interview style video where we talk with different people about different breeds. So today we are talking with DutchTollers about Nova Scotia DutchTolling retrievers and all about this breed. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining today. Let's start off with a little intro and presentation of you and your dogs. What's your name? How old are you? Where are you from? And what dogs do you have?
My name is Isabella. I'm 23 years old and I live in a small town underneath Amsterdam in the Netherlands. And I have 3 Nova Scotia DutchTolling retrievers.
And what's the backstory of the breed? Could you tell me something about it maybe?
Yeah, for sure. So actually it's all in the name. So Nova Scotia DutchTolling retriever. Nova Scotia is the part from in Canada where the dogs are from. We have duck. So the dogs were made to lure the ducks so they would walk alongside the water, and preferably they would have these white tips on their tail and they would just wag their tail and the ducks would be like, oh, what's that? So the wagging of the tail and the part where they walk next to the water is actually the tolling part. Would make the ducks come over, and then the hunter could shoot the ducks, and then comes the retrieving part. So the dogs would retrieve the ducks that were shot and would bring them to the hunter. So it's also the only retriever that works before and after the gunshot, which is, I think, is very cool. So that's the whole name, and I think that's most of the backstory of the breed.
I think that's actually super interesting, and I don't think that it's very common knowledge that it's like all in the name and explaining everything. So do you know how long they tend to live for, and are they generally healthy dogs?
And they tend to live for, I think, around 10 to 14 years, but of course there are exceptions. So unfortunately I saw a dog that already died when they were 2. But I also, last week, I saw a post on Facebook from a toller that was already celebrating his 16th birthday. So generally 10 to 14 is and they are quite healthy dogs, but it's a very small breed. So whenever there are certain illnesses, of course, that illness becomes a large part of the breed because there are just not that many dogs. And I think the main health problem is that they have a really sensitive immune system. So this varies a lot because sometimes they just have a little sensitive immune system and they can be allergic to, for example, grass. But it could also be more severe, and which could turn into SRMA, which is brain meningitis. So I think that's the biggest problem, next to maybe hip dysplasia and maybe some liver diseases, but that's not so common. I think the sensitive immune system is the biggest problem. The sensitive immune system, that's also why the tollers always need to be vaccinated with one certain type of vaccination, which is called no-BVAC. So write that down here.
Yeah.
No-BVAC.
Yeah.
So whenever you have a toller and you go to the vet, ask them to vaccinate with no-BVAC.
So the health tests that a potential buyer should look into, what are those?
Main ones in the Netherlands. So for every country, I think it's a little different. And in the Netherlands, they tend to do the HD, which is for hip dysplasia. Mm-hmm. And then CEA, PRCD, PRA, and ECVO, which are all eye tests. And you also have elbow dysplasia, although that's not an official required test. And there are a lot of other tests that could be done, but I think so HD, ECVO, PRA, and CEA are the required health tests. Mm-hmm. So you should definitely have those. Mm-hmm. And the more the better.
What got you into the breed, and why did you get this particular breed?
We wanted a medium-sized dog. We didn't know that we would have 3.
Yeah.
But we started with 1, so we wanted a medium-sized breed that was very work-driven. We wanted to work with them, and was a little something different because we saw a lot of retrievers, and we liked the retrievers the most. But we wanted a little something different.
Cool. And when did you get the first one?
That was in December 2006 when I was 9 years old. So very long time ago.
A very long time. Do you compete or train in any dog sport? And what sports would you say suits the breed?
But our first dog, we went into the obedience. We did obedience and agility as well. But with our latest dog, so with Rossi and Vesper, we did dummy training and hunting training. And I think that although rally obedience and agility is really nice and can be really good for the bonding, as well as hoopers and frisbee and stuff like that, I think retrieving is the part that they are made to do because it's a retriever.
Yeah.
So we don't compete, but we do a lot of training with them alone and with trainers. And I think, well, my opinion is that everyone with a retriever should do retrieving because that's what they're made to do.
Yeah.
And even if it's just a little dummy training,
yeah.
I don't expect anyone to go with their gun into the forest and shoot ducks and let their dogs retrieve them. But I think it's really important that you should just do basic retrieving training with your dog.
Yeah. And how is it in general owning the breed?
I think it's the best. I think they're the best breed. Once you accept that you don't know everything and that you can't control what they do, then it's the best.
How many hours per day would you say that you need to put on your dog?
I think that's very different depending on the day. Of course, some days are more about your dogs than other days. You also have to work and school and stuff like that. But I would say in general, if you take the mean of the week, it would say 2 to 3 hours per day.
How are they in everyday life? What does an average day look like for you?
Our average day, we would go out at maybe 7:30 for their morning walk, which is around 40 minutes for us. And then they would have first breakfast in the morning. And then they would just chill and sleep until we go out for our halfway during the day walk, which is around 12:30, 1-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would go on a 1-hour walk.
Mm.
And in those walks, we also do training things. So also just walking with us is still being obedient. So that's training for us.
Yeah.
Do some, which we call a toller tree. So we hide treats in trees and they have to search for it, which is really good for their sniffing and for their brain work.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do that, and just like the basic sit down stuff like that to keep things nice and fun during the walks. And then late at night at around 8 we would go for another 40 to 50 minute walk, and just nice and chill. So no ball throwing, no, just let them sniff and walk. So that's nice. And then they go to bed.
Yeah.
So, and of course some days I really like to train, and we do some daily things. So they would open our doors, or they would take off my socks, and just small things that they do during the day.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a misconception that with a toller, because they're such a high energy breed, that every day you should train and walk and run, and no, they also need rest.
Mm-hmm.
So just do a little bit of things, and if you did a lot of training on Monday, make sure to rest on Tuesday, and then do a little bit more on Wednesday and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
to keep a variation, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are the worst attributes of the breed? Are there any downsides?
I would say the worst attribute of the breed is also their best attribute, and that's their intelligence. Because they are so intelligent, they learn so very quickly, which is nice if you want them to learn the good things. But if you want them to learn, you don't want them to learn the bad things.
Yeah.
But once they know the bad things, they also learn that very quickly. So,
Yeah.
and it's very hard to get that out. So you have to be like, oh no, make sure that it's not happening. But of course, 9 out of 10, you're too late.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's their worst attribute. So they learn so very quickly the good and the bad things. Yeah, and it's also a misconception that with intelligent breeds, like for example the Toller, but also with Australian Shepherds and breeds like that, that because of their intelligence, people expect them to just know stuff, and of course that's not the case.
Yeah.
So you have to learn how to sit and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and it's not that you can say to your dog, oh, paw, and your intelligent dog will just know to give paw. No, they learn very easily, but you still have to learn them.
Yeah. What are some challenges when owning and training this breed? Do they have easily to bark or to scream or anything like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the worst thing with training is that they get excited very easily, which is nice if you want to do agility and stuff like that. But it's really hard to calm them down and do calmness training. So I think that's the worst. And if they get really high in their energy, sometimes, or some tollers, I don't think all the tollers do it, but they have a certain scream. So they have a very high-pitched noise, which will break your eardrums. And yeah, so patience is key, and I think that's a big challenge, to just try to keep the energy low in training, high enough to do nice training, but low enough to still enjoy it.
And what are some breed misconceptions?
Oh, that they're small golden retrievers that love everyone and are super easy and cuddly at home. Of course, there are dogs that are cuddly. There are tollers that are cuddly, but they're not as. Yeah, I don't want to say negative, but they are friendly, just not to everyone. They're not open to everyone.
Yeah. What are 5 words that you would use to describe this breed?
Say sensitive. So they have a sensitive immune system, but also their personality is really sensitive. Opinionated. They have their own opinion. Intelligent, work-driven, and owner-focused.
I like those words. Those are good words. I like those attributes. And for who would you recommend getting this breed? Would you say it's a good first-time dog?
If you are willing to work, then it's a nice first-time dog. I think if you just want a nice companion, and if you don't know that much about dogs, maybe the Toller would not be your first option. I think it's hard to say if it would be good for a first-time owner to have a Toller, because if you are willing to work and you did all the preparation and learn so much with reading books and stuff like that, then yeah, why not take a Toller? But you need to be willing to work, and you need to be able to give the Toller what they need to have one.
And what are some breed-specific traits that are like common for everyone?
So I would say, of course, again, their intelligence, blah blah, but also that they can get scared about some things. So, for example, Buddha is scared of our rice cooker. Okay. There are certain sounds that trigger them that they are scared of.
Okay.
And I think so the fact that they don't love everyone and that they're a little hesitant to meet other people is something that I think almost all of them have. Yeah.
They come in, and do you have a preference?
So they come in red. So with optional white spots. They can have white spots on their toes, on the tip of the tail for the tolling part, on their face, so on their nose and on their forehead a little bit, and on their chest. There can be white stuff, and there's this disease, which is actually just a color defect, which is called buff or dilute, which makes the dogs a little bit more champagne color. Most of them are just normal and dark. Yeah, they call it red, but I think it's more brown.
Yeah.
It's really
like
weird that they call it red.
Yeah.
And for their pigments, so on their nose and around their eyes, they have like the liver colored, and they also have black pigment, so either black or liver. And we prefer dark red tollers with little white. So sometimes you can see that tollers have a spot on their neck, which is not allowed, or if they have white above their wrist, which is also not allowed. It looks cute, but it's not allowed for breeding.
Yeah.
I would say we prefer liver pigment with very dark red tollers with little white.
Yeah, I agree. That's also my favorite. I like the dark ones with the liver pigment. Yeah. Are there any negative aspects of owning a toller? People's opinions or?
Yeah, I think the worst part is that they are, maybe I'm biased, but they're so pretty that almost everyone wants them, and they're so cute. So a lot of people do their research based on the looks, as we did, and we also wanted a medium-sized dog, and we wanted a pretty dog, of course, but you also really have to know that it's a working breed, and not all people look at their character and understand that they don't like everyone, and they need to work, because otherwise they will get really annoying.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's also a problem now with the social media, that people see tollers and they think they're so cute as puppies, and they are, and they're so beautiful, but they forget to think about those other aspects of the breed.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And do you breed this dog breed?
Yes, we do.
Yes, you do. Do you sell the puppies then to anyone, or do you have some certain criterias on your puppy buyers?
Yeah, we have a whole selection procedure. It's almost like getting a job, because so people would email us or call us, and then we would give them a general email back with a questionnaire, which they have to fill in, with questions from, okay, what's your name? What do you do for a living? With who are you living in? You live in a house or an apartment or anything like that. Where will you keep the puppy? Have you thought about training? What kind of sports do you want to do? So this, a whole questionnaire.
I answered them. There was a whole bunch of questions.
There's a lot of questions. Yeah. And then, so when we know that the female is pregnant, we also know how much puppies there are. And then we go out and meet with people, because we get so many emails, because especially in this COVID period, everyone wants a toller, or everyone wants a dog, and a lot of people also want a toller. We don't meet up with everyone. I really understand that people would like to see the dogs in real life, but there's just no way that we could meet with everyone, because our weekends would be just full of meeting people. Yeah. So we decided to only meet people when we know that the dog is pregnant. And so then we meet each other and feel the connection on both ways. So we would like them to like us, but we also need to like them, so that the connection is good. And then they get a puppy, if there are enough puppies. Okay. So yeah, it's a whole selection procedure, and we really don't do first come, first serve. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And why do you breed this specific breed?
Because it's the breed we own.
It's a good answer. Is there anything that you would actively, or that you are actively trying to improve in your breeding program?
Yeah. So we really look at the color of the breed. So there are a lot of tollers that are very light nowadays, and we really like them to be dark. And the lighter you go, it's like the saying, I'm not going to say it, but the lighter you go, you can never go back.
Yeah.
So we would like the color to be really nice and dark and red, and we don't like the black pigment. And for on the long run, we would like the breed to become more and more healthy. So we do a lot of testing with them, and we make sure, we try to get parents that are both free. So for example, with the CEA or the PRA, if you have both parents that are free, then your puppy will be free from birth. And that's the main goal for us, to have just puppies in general that are free from birth, that could just be bred without having to do all the tests. Because so yeah. And also personality wise, we always look for studs that accompany that make the negative aspects of our dog more positive. So for example, with Buddha is very sensitive. So we would like a more stable stud. With Roshi is very sensitive or very stable herself. So we just want a sweet dog that is willing to work and stuff like that. Because I think some people forget to also look at their personalities, because if we would have bred with a sensitive dog with a Buddha who's already sensitive herself, and especially with the tollers, because they are so sensitive. And if you have two sensitive dogs that breed with each other, the puppies that will come out are even more sensitive, and they can actually get the fear aggression if the owners don't know how to handle it, which is really sad.
I also like it with the coloring, what you mentioned, because I also like to keep the dark, rich coloring. I see a lot of tollers that are looking like yellow Labradors, and I think looking at, for instance, golden retrievers, I think it has really lost its coloring. I think it's very rare to see goldens that are actually golden. I see more golden retrievers that are almost white at this point, which I think it's quite sad.
And I think that's the part that scares me. I would never want that to happen with a toller.
Choose a breed to compare them to. What would be a good comparison breed?
A really hard question, because I don't think there's a breed that you can really compare it with. So as far as their intelligence, I would say they're up on the level around Border Collie, Australian Shepherd, those types of dogs. But they're very different because they're a retriever, another herding dog. So I would say that you can compare it with a golden retriever, like a true golden retriever from a hunting line. Because most of the golden retrievers from a hunting line are still nice and red and kind of smaller. So they have the work ethic of a golden retriever from a hunting line, so not the companion golden retriever. But they're still way more independent and sensitive.
Okay. Breed was another animal, what would they be?
Unicorn. No. I think a fox. Because the tolling part is also the way I think that a fox or like attracts its prey. So I would say that it looks like a fox.
How much grooming does the breed need, and do their fur tangle easily?
So I don't know if I'm the right person to talk about this, because we're not into grooming that much. But Roshi, if you can, okay, she's here. So their fur doesn't tangle easily, but they have these ear hairs that need to be pulled out, because they're all dead hairs. So these ear hairs should be just pulled out. You can just pull them out like this. She hates it when I do that. And then you have her paws, and you have to cut between the paws and on the bottom of it. And just brush their fur. We don't do it that often. because it doesn't tangle that easily. And I don't really think it's that necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think a lot of people would disagree with me, and a lot of people would brush their dogs every week.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't. You know, we let them swim very often.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that also helps with not tangling their fur,
Mm-hmm.
because the fur gets really soft with just basic swimming. So also in summertime, we have a little private property surrounded by water. So they would swim every day. And in summertime, their fur is so soft. So the water really does something very nice for their fur.
Is there a fun fact about the breed?
Yeah, well, with their paws, because they had to swim so much because of the ducks and stuff like that, they actually have webbed feet. So they have these things between their feet which they can swim very easily with, and webbed feet. So basically, they're mermaids, which is pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Do you think that I missed anything to ask you? Is there anything you want to add?
No, I think you had great questions, and I think everything that could be asked, you asked. So I just really want to thank you for inviting me and picking me to talk about the Nova Scotia Duck-Tolling Retriever, and yeah, I had so much fun. So to anyone who's watching this, please follow Bella and Nemo, because they share such great content, and especially for people that, like me, thought that small dogs couldn't do agility and stuff like that. You really prove otherwise. So I think you're doing a really good job.
Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. It is really, I appreciate it so much. And please plug yourself, your social media. Where can we find you?
On DutchTollers. I have Facebook, Instagram. I started also a YouTube channel and just a website. Everything is with DutchTollers.
Cool. Well, and then that is it. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you.
And I will end the video here, I guess.
Yeah.
Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give this video a like, subscribe, and comment down below, and share this video with somebody if you think they'd be interested in this breed. I hope you enjoyed it so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!